What's up, Identity 5 gamers? My name is Music Man, and at the time of this recording, it is Galatea's birthday, so let's take a look at some Galatea matches I had in ranked today. Let's get into the video. So this first match that we're going to look at is on Lakeside. So at this point, I end up... Yeah, I remember in this match, I go for the Prisoner right away. Now, the Prisoner actually does a really good job hiding right away, so this is pretty much going to be a tutorial of how to have a comeback if you end up struggling to find a first target here. So Prisoner ends up being very, very sneaky and hiding behind this pallet, which is honestly really difficult to predict. Well done on this Prisoner. I end up just trying to break the connection here because he gets like a little decoding debuff if he decodes with the connection. I thought Prisoner might be going for a little bit of extra decoding because for some reason my brain hallucinated that I heard some decoding going on above me. But Prisoner ends up getting out of this area. Now, at this point, I mean, one of the ciphers has already passed about 60% decoding. So at this point, I know that I need to make something happen. So I just change targets. And my blink is up, so I know I have that to work with. Now I make my way up. For some reason, she plays the Orphe super super early. So I just use a hitbox, go way on the outside so that the journalist is the only one realistically within range. I kind of close off this pallet area, and I can see kind of through the little area that she's right over there. Now I know that she has a long enough cooldown that a blink pretty much means it down there. And actually, this is a respectable timing to go for a tie. Now, I will let you know that my build is left, right. Now, I find that with Sculptor, I need to go this super, super hyper aggressive build because if I don't go super aggressive, I struggle to get anything with Sculptor. So I have to play aggressive to a lot of times only really have tying chances, but watch how I end up here predicting where the postman is going to go. I get one statue, I get two, and that is actually going to be a stuff. Now, a lot of people sleep on Sculptor's Sculptor's camping ability, and it's true that against like actual rescue characters, Sculptor can kind of struggle sometimes. But a lot of people underestimate just how tricky Sculptor's camping game can be. Especially once she gets max presence, which I am here. Now, at this point, I kind of bait out my first wand, and I noticed that big boat stopped wiggling, so I knew that journalist, or not journalist, prisoner was going to be going for a rescue on journalist. So I make my way back to this area, let them rescue the other survivor for free. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the chair will always, if you're facing the chair is always going to plop the survivor down on the right side. So if you're ever wanting to predict where the survivor is going to go, that's always going to be on the right side of the chair if you're looking to farm. And like I was there because I wanted journalists to be dead on chair. Now, I end up going for quite a few blind statues in this area, which end up working out quite nicely. So prisoners already, all I have to do is get a regular attack and prisoner is going to go down. But I end up hearing the decoding on... This is how you know they weren't communicating because I was able to kind of walk up to that cipher. And these are the types of things that can happen, if, especially in high tier rank. Part of the reason why I say that there should be 4-person VC in ranked is because I mean, yes, I'm going to take advantage of these mistakes, but these shouldn't be happening against survivors that are actively communicating. Now, that being said, the survivors definitely did have their chances. I saw the magician going up there, so I end up kind of throwing some sculptures out in that direction. I get 2 chips on this magician, which basically make it so that this is essentially a stuff. But yeah, Postman is going to be deleted from the game. Now at this point, all I have to do is get the down on Magician, and that pretty much secures the win for me. So I'm going to do everything that I can to get rid of Magician. And so I kind of make him go to the weakest area in the map, and he ends up eating a chip shot there. Now, if a magician uses a wand and you don't know exactly where he's going to be, uh, a lot of times you can kind of look for the footprints and get yourself kind of in the general area of where they're going to be. Now, with with sculptor placements like that, the magician has pretty much no shot of dodging that, which is nice. When you get to max presence, um, if you place it right on the survivor, it's very, very difficult to dodge it. So from this area on out, I'm pretty much just keeping an eye to make sure Prisoner doesn't rescue the Magician. Prisoner's going Sui here, so a pop doesn't even help him. But I end up just kind of staying in this area, and since I know that the dungeon is at shore, I can just stay here and comfortably get a 4K. Now, being that it is ranked, I do like going for a 4K if it is possible. Generally, that's the best practice, especially if you're wanting to rank up quickly, which I've already hit peak tier. I'm just kind of doing these matches to be some sort of maintenance for the characters that I have. But you can see how Sculptor's camping ability made it so that I was able to rebound this match. And mind you, this is in peak tier. Um, if it can happen in my matches in NA, it can happen in your matches as well, especially if you're kind of cruising up the mid tiers. If you get like a little bit of a slow start, or you're up against some meta-ish type comps, Sculptor is, in my opinion, not a bad pick. So I end up just going for the comfortable down on this prisoner. I just use my sculptures, and that is the first match. So let's take a look at the second match now. So the second match is going to be on Moonlit. So in this match, I decided to go for, when I play Sculptor, sometimes I like going for the rescue here. This is kind of a strategy that a lot of Hermit players will use, but specifically on Sculptor, especially because I kind of play her in a campy-ish type style, I really like chasing the rescuer if given the opportunity, because a lot of times I find, especially in a comp like this, there is a chance that Priestess has tied, but a lot of times if there's one rescuer, that will be the only tide that's available. Now watch this. This ends up being like a super super cheeky way to get a Terror Shock on Coaster. So I go for the hit at 100. He pops out thinking I'm going to be in attack recovery, and I end up getting stunned by the 100, which is a super super short stun, and I am able to get the Terror Shock on Gravekeeper, which feels completely unnecessary. But that's the way that Archer support can sometimes backfire. I don't mind if the 100 gets through, because of the fact that, being that I'm Sculptor, getting fed presence is more valuable than like anything else. So Archer also used a whole lot of resources. So at this point, I notice he goes into shovel, and I am about able to, I just end up changing targets here. Now the big thing is I want to make sure that I can get her down before she gets onto coaster. And you can see I almost let her go, but I remember that I have a blink right here, so that allows me to get the down on Archer here. Now I see that Toy Merchant is in this area for some reason. I have no idea why she's even here, but I wonder if she was trying to support or something. But she ends up going towards the cipher that I'm going to chair at. So this is where I'm able to get lots of pressure down as Sculptor. I can kind of remotely camp this right here. Now, the Priestess ends up, to her credit, getting a very nice rescue right here. So I am going to be, yeah, I end up getting distracted because for some reason I think that Toy Merchant, just the body language that she was using seemed to reflect that she was going to go for it. So Priestess was able to get a nice backdoor rescue there. So I get the follow up on Archer, again, using kind of those max presence statues. You don't have to do max presence all the time, but in a lot of these types of situations where they're running out in the open, it's kind of the more practical way to go about it. The only thing about max presence is you have to use 2 statues instead of 1. But watch, I end up, your goal with when you go for those spike statues at max presence, you want to make sure that the first one you place is pretty much directly on top of the survivor. That'll make it so that it's very difficult to dodge if you place the second one, so it connects pretty much instantly. And I pretty much lock Priestess off to the other side of the map. Now she has portals to get back, but that is going to be a first elimination. With everybody injured and 4 ciphers remaining, soon to be 3, I am just chilling here. So again, I kind of see Priestess. I wanted to get some pressure while I was about ready to initiate this chase. And so Toy Merchant ends up getting this catapult right here. And pretty much the way I view these types of middle games is if I can get them to use resources, I find that getting them to eat up their resources in the middle game is pretty much the way to go in these types of situations. But if I can get it down, then that allows me to capitalize even more. I wasn't even on the first stop area, but I was able to being having projectiles is so nice as a hunter that can kind of reach up into those areas that would take so long to walk around. It allows me to have a little bit more agency in what I do. Now, at this point, I pretty much know that Priestess is forced to go for this rescue. So I end up, if I can get a hit early, I'm happy. If I can also get statues early, I'm also happy. So there's a chip shot here. If I can get a chip shot on the priestess before she gets to the chair, then that's going to be a stuff. Now, to her credit, she gets a very nice dodge right here. Ends up getting the rescue, but it pretty much doesn't do anything because it's just going to be a farm, and they are missing a entire cipher right here. So at this point, I was thinking it was going to be with the pace this match was going. I thought that they were missing just 2 full ciphers, but Gravekeeper goes for this rescue right here. I am prioritizing map pressure whenever I can. I am totally okay getting the double hit right here since they'll both be downed. And at this point, I go finish off the Toy Merchant. So they're both going to go down. That pretty much locks in the victory right here. Now I do something kind of goofy. I want to vault this window so that she can't activate her little hang glider thing, but I don't think that actually saves any time. I just wanted to be a little bit funny there. And Toy Merchant will end up going back down onto the rocket chair. Now, Priestess is going to be in this area with a little portal trying to heal, but now it's pretty much just a slugging process. That's pretty much all this is right here. Being that they're both in the same area, I don't usually go super aggressive slugging in rank. If I have the opportunity to, I generally will. And Priestess is so annoying sometimes with those mind games, but you might be surprised why I allowed Priestess in ranked here, and that's because I've been just trying to increase my flexibility by just going no bans in rank. But I hope you enjoyed this video, this Galatea special for Sculptor Day. So if you like it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.